day, everybody. It is Calxiyn and Hunter here, and if you guys enjoyed this video, remember to subscribe for more RWBY videos. Today we are doing, I'm gonna call this an anti-haul, okay? It could be a yes or pass, but I don't think that I'm buying anything, whereas like with the Pride collection, I did actually buy stuff, so those are gonna be separate videos. Happy Mother's Day, everybody. This is the Mother's Day collection,
yes.
And this collection has
Mother's Day.
gotten some, I don't want to say like backlash, like it's not that big of a deal. I think that the Pride collection has gotten more like scrutiny compared to like this one.
I thought this would be a big deal.
This was a hot topic for like a minute until the Pride collection discourse.
And that was even a bigger thing.
Yeah, and so let's talk about these, okay? Like overall, so the Pride collection's in here, but again, we're just gonna ignore those for right now. These are the shirts. And I have multiple problems, okay? I have multiple things to complain about already. Number one, why did the women's and the men's need to be different colors in the sense that the women's are desaturated? That really bothers me, and I know like it's, you know, I could buy a men's if I really wanted to, but when you offer a women's cut, I would like to take the women's cut. You know what I mean? Because I'm like already very small. Like, I don't know if you guys know, I'm like 5'3", okay? Like, stuff does not fit me. And so with the Rooster Teeth store, a lot of this stuff is unisex, which means it's made for men, and you have to pick the smallest size if you're, you know, if you're a short woman, like, or a short person in general, right? And so that is sort of how the shirts go. And so if there's a woman's option, I would like to select it. Here's the fucking problem though. Why are they ugly? I'm not ugly.
The colors.
Why are they great? The colors are ugly. The art, beautiful. Chef's kiss. The artist did a wonderful job. This is never about the artist. It's never about the fucking artist. It's always about the fucking colors, okay? Because like, white's beautiful. White, pristine shirt. And I know that you don't really like white shirts, but like why did it need to be gray? And it's the same with kind of like the Raven ones are both gray. Like I think the only one that has a nice color is Blake's.
Yes.
And like I don't know how I feel about the blue for RWBY, but at least like here this is saturated. Why are you desaturating it? I don't get it. Like I don't know. Is there some sort of market research that women like less bright colors on their? I don't know. That doesn't make any sense.
That seems kind of.
That really bugged me because I want the white shirt in white. But it's gray in the women's, right? And so that's the first thing. Overall, the colors are a little questionable. I don't know how I feel about the blue for RWBY.
I mean, I guess it contrasts nicely with the red and the pink.
I feel like we need to get out a color wheel and see like the opposite colors. Okay, sis, we broke out the color wheel just for you guys. Okay, so blue's opposite directly is orange. Like, I know that you can do this. Like, I know that a lot of people, like, think about 3D glasses, for example. You got the blue, you got the red. It's an aesthetic, okay?
I think it
but
works.
I think what they could have done was maybe, like, I think that, you know, you can never go wrong with black, okay? Like that, like with RWBY shirts, a lot of them tend to be black. I think that a silver, to represent the fact that they're silver-eyed warriors, like the silver that's on the white shirt may have been better on this one. Otherwise, I don't know, like I'm sort of thinking like, maybe, I don't know exactly. I'm sort of thinking like maybe they could have done like a silver. I don't want them to do like green or something. I feel like that would be kind of weird. But I think that silver would have been okay. Or maybe like a really light purple, like this purple over here. I know that that's, again, not very color wheel-y because they're right beside each other, but maybe a really light purple would have looked nice. I don't know. I'm just saying that I don't know if the blue was the motion is all I'm trying to get at. But let's look at everything individually, okay? Yes. So again, very bright blue, and then you come over here and you're like, okay. And it would be nice to see how these look on a person, because sometimes in the photos you can see, oh, well, the color here maybe is a bit more like representative of what it actually looks like, but with these we just kind of don't know. I think the art is really nice.
I love that.
I like the symbolism of it too. Like somebody pointed out that like a lot of the photos, like let's see, like let's go to Blake. Like Callie is proud of Blake, whereas Summer has her eyes closed because she never got to see what RWBY grew up to be. And I think that like the symbolism is really nice, but again, it's just the color. The size is probably fine. Like
on a person, it'll be
like
fine.
Lately, we've sort of talked about like, oh well, when it's wrapped around you, it does look larger than when it's flat. But again, we can't really see because there's no person. And I do like the circles. Like some people have complained like, oh, they're doing the circle merch again. So with the circle thing, there used to be like Raven and Crow, Coco and Velvet, Neptune and Sun, right? And so a lot of people are seeming to remember those and be like, oh, okay, well, we're doing circles again. And like the Blake birthday shirt was also like that very circular design. So it feels like very like print on, like, Redbubble type situation. But I don't know. Like, I think that if the art is nice, I don't mind a circle every now and then,
I
okay?
think the art
as
looks
long as we
lovely.
aren't going crazy with the circles. Like, it's only been, like, 3 pieces, as opposed to, again, we'll talk about the Pride collection. It has some reuse, what is it again?
Reuse.
Reduce,
Recycle.
reuse, recycle. Yeah,
Yes.
anyway. And so, I like the art. I think that the art is very
The art
nice.
looks lovely.
I don't know
I
about
don't
the
mind
color.
the desaturated. I like that they're in the description they talk about the actual artist who. Yeah. So
and you
I
can
really,
find more of their work, and so maybe we'll check that out at the end if that's okay. But yeah, like, I like the description and everything that they have, like, talking about RWBY and Summer. Let's move on to Weiss. And so I like this, like, kind of like Willow is not necessarily, like, turning her back on her, but more like looking from the corner of her eye. So maybe keeping, like, a watchful eye on Weiss. You know, she has all the cameras in the Schnee Manor. Like, it seems very symbolic that she's, like, almost, like, seeing what her daughter's doing, right? Like, she
concerned, but she seems concerned but distant.
Yeah, exactly.
And Weiss seems, like, unbothered and persistent, going in a different direction, and I think the metaphor works really well there.
And I don't mind the silver, I don't understand why the men's and the women's are different. That's
well, it's
the
not
whole
even
thing
silver,
for me.
it's like gray.
Yeah.
It's just not very interesting a color.
Yeah, and
not
so,
that
like,
I
like
don't
white for Weiss,
Yeah.
just because that's the color that she's supposed to, like, represent and everything. But that's just something that I'm thinking, I'm like, it doesn't bother me, the color itself doesn't bother me necessarily. I'm just really curious why they decided to go more desaturated, like, for the women's collection. So if anybody knows why, like, if anybody's in marketing and has a clue, right, like, my mom works at a toy store, so, like, she works not at a toy store, like, she's in the toy store trenches. She works for a toy store,
the
like,
toy
their
store
web
trenches.
marketing, you know what I mean? And so, yeah, like, she probably wouldn't necessarily...
They want the Hatchimals!
Yeah, exactly. She probably wouldn't know about the clothes per se, but, like, if anybody else, like, out there knows anything about why this could be, because I feel like the gray here really blends in with Willow's hair, whereas the white seems to make the design feel a little
color
better.
that would look nicer, either the white or the kind of light blue that was on the woman's RWBY shirt.
Yeah, like putting that. I think it would have to be a little lighter though, just because it would blend in with this too much. But yeah, I don't know. I'm just saying we have color suggestions.
Maybe a color similar to the shaded parts of Weiss's hair. I think I would like that, kind of like the color that was on the earlier Priya shirt that went with.
Because we still need contrast.
Signature?
The other thing they could have done is they could have gone like red. Because that obviously you have the accents of Weiss's red here. And so I think if anything, like if I were to choose a different color, I would like to see this, how it would look in red. But like otherwise, I think that the white is nice. I'm just wondering like why? Okay, so then we'll talk about Blake. I think that Blake, like see, they're the same basically. So I'm like, anyway, I don't understand. And like, see this one, I feel like there's always one shirt that encaptures what the collection is supposed to be like, but then all the other ones like fail. Because look at this, okay? So this is exactly what we're talking about. You have the purple, it pops, but the shirt seems to be based around like this color over here that's like Callie's outfit. So if you were to do the same thing with this
you
shirt,
get the kind of
you
blue
would
we were
maybe
about.
pick like either the blue or you would pick
Red,
like the red,
yeah.
right? Like as opposed to Willow's hair because that blends, whereas this doesn't blend in with Callie because her hair is black. The same over here, like where is the blue? Like they could have done white, they could have done again the silver type
or even
thing.
like a purple, you see a bit of that.
Yeah, and so there's like purple shading here. So like this one makes sense, makes sense
I think it is the
artistically.
best looking
like it's the best looking one. I like this because again, like you know, Callie's very like
it communicates
you know?
their, like so far they've all done a good job that the art communicates
the
their relationship with the mothers.
And so I really like if I liked Blake, I do like Blake, but if I was a big like Blake stan, I would like buy this because I think that this one actually like it looks nice. I think this one makes sense. Like it just makes sense to me.
This is one of the best Blake shirts I think she's gotten.
Yeah, and like I think that Blake looks really cute here. And so yeah, if they had just thought about the color a little bit more with the other ones, I think that would have been fun. And then we get over here, okay? So it's, why is it gray? Did it need to be gray? Why not use purple or something?
Yeah.
Because, like, maybe, I don't know how that would look again. Like, listen,
or like
guys,
a pink
I'm not a designer.
Ravens.
But, like, I'm just looking at this and I'm kind of like, well, if they did purple, you have that sort of, like, purplish tone in the jacket and, like, kind of a red-ish tone that could complement, like, the purple if you were to make it purple. I don't know why they're both gray. And I'm just like, I don't know.
I think
I don't know about anyone else.
I think the woman, it being darker, looks a little bit better.
I think it being darker
maybe
here
if it like
actually
meshed
looks
with
nicer.
her hair.
Yeah.
That similar kind of like dark.
Yeah. I don't know.
I don't know. I think that would work better.
But yeah, like, I feel like that the colors are just all off except for the Blake one. But let's talk about the controversy now with having Raven on a Mother's Day shirt. So here's, like, I guess that I feel like Hunter's probably gonna play devil's advocate for us. But here's like
I just don't think it's a great idea.
Oh wait, you don't? Oh, well, okay. I thought you were gonna be like, guys, it's just a shirt, don't worry. But here's my thing, okay?
Yeah.
Here's my argument. One, this is after Yang called Summer her mom.
Yeah.
And so to not even have, like, you could have had Summer here, right?
Yeah.
And this probably isn't the artist's choice, right? Again, the art is very nice, but I wonder if Rooster Teeth was like, oh, well, we want a different character. We don't want Summer on there twice. Like, I can imagine somebody saying that, but like, if you were to do a Father's Day collection, first of all, you wouldn't have Jacques with Weiss, I don't think, right? You'd probably have Klein or something. And if you were doing a Father's Day collection, guess the fuck what? Yang and RWBY have the same father, and so it's not like you can pick another character unless you had RWBY with Crow, which would open up an entire other can of worms, right? So what I'm saying is that I don't think they should have been so concerned about having the same character, like having Summer on Yang's merch and then having Summer on RWBY's merch. And something else that they could have done is just had Yang and RWBY together on a shirt, but I feel like they really wanted to sell one shirt per girl.
Alternatively, I think what could have been done is that we could have had, like, Yang, maybe this would have been too crowded because I'm not an artist. I
would have done Yang on this side, Summer on this side, and then Raven, like, you know what I mean?
Like,
Yang in the middle of
I would imagine Raven kind of 3/4 closed.
Yeah.
So it looks more distant, whereas Summer's more prominent and looking to Yang to kind of communicate the real nature of an adopted versus biological mother.
And so first of all, Yang considers Summer her mom.
Yeah.
And so that's my first thing. Secondly, Raven's not exactly like Mother's Day material, and I feel like that what they wanted to do was they wanted to make a shirt with the moms on it and just happen to release it on Mother's Day without thinking about the implications of what Mother's Day actually means, because I feel like that even though people are going to be like, oh, you know, like, it's not that deep, it's just a shirt, but it's like you're kind of invalidating the fact that Mother's Day is not about your biological parents. It's about the, you know, if you're a stepmom, an adoptive mom, even if you're like not a mom at all and you're an aunt or a grandma or stuff, like Mother's Day is not just for your biological parent. And so I feel like that they missed the mark in terms of the messaging. And yeah, it like acknowledges that, you know, like their bond is not like great, you know what I mean? Though they may not be close, and I'm like, though they may not be close is kind of a very superficial view of like the neglectful relationship that Raven
abandoned me as a child.
Exactly. And so like, is Raven like Jacques in the sense that Jacques is like physically abusive and very clearly like verbally abusive in Weiss's life?
No.
Not exactly,
No.
but she's still a neglectful parent. How can you be a mother if you weren't mothering, right? You know what I mean? It's like, she may be like her, you know, that like quote from the Guardians of the Galaxy, like she may be like
father, but he's not your daddy.
Exactly, right? And so it's the same with Raven. It's like, she's a Yang's like incubator, but she's not her mom. She didn't do anything to mother her, right? And so like,
the thing is that I think it's the framing.
Yeah.
That this would work wonderful just to communicate the nature of their relationship.
Yeah.
That they're like contentious.
But it's
like,
because they wanted to do it for Mother's Day. You know, like it's because they wanted to stick in the Happy Mother's Day thing.
If this was just like a volume 4, like, you know, back when they were still, Raven was still in the show and they had more of a contentious relationship and they were still learning more about each other a bit and interacting. This could just be an interesting shirt.
But it's because they
tells
were like,
about
oh,
their
you know what we should do? We should do a Mother's Day collection, and then we'll have all the girls with their moms. But then the merch team doesn't know anything about RWBY. Like, obviously, they acknowledge again in the description of their, like, testy relationship. But I'm like, there's testy relationship, and then there's just being, like, neglect is, like, one of the things that, like, gets you taken away. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that one of the things that CPS looks for. It's not just verbal abuse or physical abuse. Like, neglect is abusive, like, by definition, in a way. You know? And so I'm just like, It doesn't make any sense to me. And if you just want like a Yang and Raven shirt, that's fine. But I just think it's again that whole Mother's Day thing. It's like Happy Mother's Day, but fuck you to all the adoptive mothers, all the stepmothers out there.
Yeah,
right?
I don't know. I don't think that when they made this shirt, they purposely were let's tell them to fuck. But like that is, I think.
But the thing is that they never think.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Is that they like any RWBY fan again. If Rooster Teeth just let us help them a little bit, consult, like, any RWBY fan could have told, like, I would have emailed, like, hey, like, this is a really good idea, but you may want to keep in mind. Like, I would have been the one. It kind of reminds me
of the Lovers Coral shirt.
Yeah, it's exactly. Like, that's what people were saying
like,
on Twitter.
You know, they didn't have bad intentions going into it. It just came off not great. Like,
and I feel like this is the same
thing. I still
thing.
really love the art. I still love how she drew Blake Yang with the purple and Raven in the framing. It's lovely. I think it works really well as a Yang and Raven shirt, just not as a Mother's Day shirt.
Yeah, so that's the only thing. And it's so funny because I won't talk about this too much, but like Vex, who like does not talk about the merch regularly like we do, he was just like, why would they do this when Yang said that Summer is her mom? And he's just like, I gotta take a break, guys. Even the merch is bothering me lately. I gotta take a break. And so it's kind of funny how just like this has become almost like it's not just like, oh, Cal and Hunter are complaining again. Like, obviously, like, the RWBY critics are gonna critic, but I've never seen them, like, critic the merch this much. And so it's interesting how things have sort of... And the other thing...
They're diversifying their portfolio. It's fun to see.
This came out at the worst time, because as the merch came out, there was, like, I wasn't involved, I didn't see it, like, I didn't really, like, you know what I mean? I didn't get involved in it, but I do know that there was drama around Raven, that somebody was arguing that, like, Raven was not abusive, and it wasn't that deep, and then people were, like, hounding on them, and maybe people shouldn't have hounded on them. Yeah, like, it was, like, it was, like, not a good thing. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they said that, but then everybody was quote tweeting them, and then they found out, like, the person that originally said it was a kid, and so I'm like, can't we try to educate the kid and not dogpile on the kid? Like, can't we just, like, talk to them instead of trying to, like, dunk on them, guys? Like, you know what I mean?
I'm not pro dunking people on Twitter at the best of times.
It was not great, and so, like, it's just kind of, like, obviously it was kind of a coincidence, but literally, I don't think that the merch released first, and that's what spurred the conversation. Yeah. I think the conversation was happening, and then they dropped the merch.
Rooster Teeth isn't responsible for that.
No, of course not. But I'm saying that it's just funny how people were like, yes, Raven is this, yes, Raven is that. Like, everybody was making tweets, like, not quote tweeting them, but just talking generally about the situation and talking about, like, Raven's impact, and then they were like, oh, by the way, we're gonna release a Raven shirt.
I'm also trying to think of, like...
That, like, for Happy Mother's Day, like, everybody in the community is writing their essays about how Raven is abusive, actually, and how she's neglectful, actually, because of that one tweet that spurred this community discussion, and then, in the midst of it, the shirt comes out. So, yeah, it just wasn't the time.
I'm trying to think, like, if they didn't do Raven and just had RWBY with Summer and Yang, I'm thinking, like, who else could they do for mothers? I'm like, well, you could do Saffron and Terracotta and Adrian. You could have done, like, Lai Ren and his mom.
Yeah.
Could have done Cinder and Salem if you want to go really unhinged.
That's the same as this. That's almost
I don't know. For Father's Day, you can do Velvet and Bill. Like, it could be a whole thing.
If we see...
Listen, I'll forgive this. I don't think it looks great, but I don't think it's poor. Like, I think you have to look at intention, like, you know, mens rea of the whole thing.
Sure.
If they do Weiss and Jacques, I'm gonna be like, okay, they might just be, like, willfully dumb with this. I wipe my hand at them.
But yeah, like, I feel like it wasn't intended. It's just kind of funny how everything turns out in the end, you know? And so, yeah, that's my piece on it. Alright, so I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. It's kind of a weird note to end on, but this is a no. This is an anti-haul. I don't know what.
Oh, okay, of all these, which one would you buy?
Well, here's the thing. Not that I don't like any of the RWBY girls enough, but I have a lot of RWBY merch, and so if somebody put a gun to my head and told me to buy one, I would buy the Blake one.
Yeah,
but otherwise, I would not buy any of these. Like, I don't feel that much attachment to any of the moms. If it was like something that you said, like Velvet and Will, like her father, like then I would be like, oh, okay, because that's a Velvet shirt. That's
or like
a different
even
character.
Terracotta and Sasha.
Yeah, like something.
I think that would be
that would have been a perfect Happy Mother's Day and Pride Collection.
Exactly, you could have
done
had them slap
both,
in the middle.
but instead, here we are. And so, yeah, I hope that you guys enjoyed, and we will see
There's
you
always
guys
next Mother's Day.
in the next one. I wonder what they'll do for Father's Day now, because you can't have Jacques on that shirt, sis. You can't. So what are they going to do? I don't know. We'll see. And we'll see you guys next time. Bye.